Ladies and gentlemen, I'd planned to speak to you tonight to report on the State of the Union. But the events of earlier today have led me to change those plans. Today is a day for mourning and remembering. Nancy and I are pained to the core by the tragedy of the Shuttle Challenger. We know we share this pain with all of the people of our country. This is truly a national loss. And I want to say something to the school children of America who were watching the live coverage of the shuttle's takeoff. I know it's hard to understand, but painful things like this happen. It's all part of the process of exploration and discovery. It's all part of taking a chance and expanding man's horizons. The future doesn't belong to the faint-hearted. It belongs to the brave. The Challenger crew was pulling us into the future, and we'll continue to follow them. The crew of the Space Shuttle Challenger honored us for the manner in which they lived their lives. We will never forget them, nor the last time we saw them, this morning, as they prepared for their journey and waved goodbye and slipped the surly bonds of earth to touch the face of God. Thank you.
We just had the 40th anniversary of a seminal moment in Gen X and, frankly, our country's history. We're going to talk about the Space Shuttle explosion, and we're going to talk about millions of children that sat mouths agape after watching that thing explode. Poke holes in a couple of myths, and we're going to have a little fun today. Couple of bits of housekeeping. First of all, sorry last week had an audio problem. Look, we're artists. We're not going to put together crap. All right. We're a spirited group and emotions run high. I'll try to watch that. On the last show, I mentioned we had a listener in Rapid City, South Dakota. It always shows up early among the listeners. And I called him out. I said, you got a mug coming to you. I didn't hear a peep. I can only imagine he's deeply ashamed that he got called out for listening to the podcast. Some days I don't blame you, bud. All right, we're going to get to it, and we're going to do it with friend of the show and my old buddy, Chad Goucher, and we're going to do that right now. Chad Goucher, welcome in.
Oh, man, so good to be here with you. So good.
I've been looking forward to this one for quite a while. We had to miss the actual anniversary of this little historical flub, but here we are. Now it's 40 years and a week late. Who's going to know?
Who's going to know?
So I sent you a text message a couple of months ago about a little Gen Z genius, and he posted this online. Let me quote. I don't want to misquote the guy. That stupid Gen X watched the Space Shuttle in school thing is going around again. And no, that's not a thing that happened. Schools didn't stop the day, force students to watch a live broadcast channel that was only available via satellite. You're faking victimhood to mock people's trauma.
Oh.
So says, what do you think, Jackson with an X, probably?
Yeah, or Jeff with a G. Yeah.
First of all, what causes that? Like when we were Jackson's age, or Megan. Nah, Megan's our age.
Yeah.
But Megan's daughter.
Yeah, no way.
When we were their age,
yeah,
we didn't say to people a generation older than us, there's no way you watch Jack Ruby shoot the president's killer. It didn't happen. What makes them experts?
Man, that's the billion-dollar question, isn't it?
Yes. So we're going to discuss that. We're going to talk about that day. But you know what? Broadly, I want to bring people back to that era. 1986 was something, but something us Okies got as a special treat to warm us up. Do you remember what happened that morning on Channel 9?
On the morning of that?
Yes, the morning of the Space Shuttle blow-up.
That was a local news
Yes,
deal, right?
Paul Bushero, the Channel 9 weather guy, dropped a couple of F-bombs while I was getting ready for school. So lucky him, a few hours later.
It took a national disaster to cover up his deal.
Yeah.
Dude,
so
here's the falling forward.
Well, you would think. I texted him. We're Facebook buddies. And I sent him a note yesterday saying what this show is going to be about. And hey, your moment to shine, bud. You got any comment? And so I told him, first of all, that I've always, and frankly, this is the truth, I have always admired him for owning it. Like, he blasted, I think, a cameraman about something and dropped a couple of F-bombs. Supposedly they didn't rewind it all the way before they filmed the segment that they dropped in the 7:00 hour. So they played that blooper essentially instead of what was filmed on top of it. Oklahomans far and wide heard their local weather guy just ripping the head off a dude
Right.
in the studio. In the 8th grade, I was getting ready for school, not knowing what was going to happen in science class that day. And so I texted him and asked him, do you have any input? Or I invited him on, and he declined. But he said, "You're right. I have owned it with no excuses and blame game. I keep a lighthearted attitude about it. I'm not proud of it, but people try to embarrass me with it. I turn it around on them. And yes, it happened the same morning as the Challenger disaster and was almost overlooked until, get this.
Until.
This is pretty good. Yeah. GM Dwayne Harm made a 3-minute editorial. And then my boy Paul entered this into the conversation. He was fired 4 years later for accounting irregularities.
Wow.
So he said, I never made a big deal about it happening on the same day. So he said, I hope you understand. But if you want any stories about it, I'll be happy to lay them on you.
Yeah, I didn't experience that live myself, but now that we're talking about it, I remember, my mom always had the TV on in the room, while she was getting ready and all that kind of stuff. And I remember her like saying something about
it. Was just so great. And the way, I meant this seriously. What I told him in the text was that I've always admired how, I think he went to my church downtown Oklahoma City. Best I remember. I don't think he went after that. I don't think he did a lot after that. But anyway, he was rehired after the GM that fired him. I guess I don't know if it didn't matter after that. I don't know. But anyway, let's take a look at 1986 just in context. It was a pretty chaotic year. That was Chernobyl happened that year. The space station Mir launched. Halley's Comet, the Iran-Contra affair hit. Of course, the Libyan airstrikes. That was Edmund's postal massacre was that year.
Wow.
So we started in Oklahoma City. We started going postal. That was a fad for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. That was like one of the first like mass shootings, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
I remember Dan Rather came on during the day. I was in the house for some reason, and he had this story, and I thought, what's going on? And he's talking about Edmond, Oklahoma, and I thought, oh, well, howdy ho, that's right here.
Right.
So, yeah, it was a big deal. And then, of course, we had Hands Across America. You remember that?
Yeah, that was in 85 also?
That was 86.
That was a, oh yeah, 86.
Yeah.
That was a homeless deal, right?
It was something, it was convoluted.
No one really knew.
I remember they were going to go from New York out to LA, and they were going to hold hands across the country. This list I just gave you is sort of a list of topics for this year that we're going to cover. So I don't want to get too far in the weeds here, but yeah, it was a mess. There were like several 100 miles out in the desert where nobody wanted to stand there all day and hold hands with somebody. And, there were like B-list celebrities all up and down that thing. And I think it was for homeless. That tells you how impactful it was that we don't even know.
Yeah, at least we knew what Farm Aid and all that stuff was for.
Right. Yeah, you got to put it in the name, Chad.
Yeah, you got to do it.
Right.
So,
USA for Africa. You got a good clue before you even drop the needle. Yeah,
exactly right. Here's one thing I know about Hands Across America. I did not participate.
I don't know.
I am certain of that.
Did they come through Oklahoma?
I don't even know anyone who did.
Yeah, I don't either. I remember.
Or if they did, they wouldn't.
I remember. No, not true. I remember the guys from REO Speedwagon just all geeked about it on TV.
Okay.
And yeah, right. That's an appropriate response. Yeah. Well, like I said, nobody. Thanks. One of my favorite bands. So anyway, speaking of local flavor, 1986, we touched on a story once about a happening at our junior high in 1986. A few days after that. So I looked up Chad's basketball coach in the 8th grade, was the subject of our most downloaded podcast ever here. You know,
Yeah.
the guy had after school hobbies. Who's going to fault him? So I was looking for the date. It happened not long after the shuttle.
Yeah, I want to say it was within a
Yeah.
month, maybe,
It was
because it was like in February.
right. It bookend between a dude from my church cussing out a weatherman on TV or cussing out a cameraman on TV, and your basketball coach beating his wife to death. It was a fun semester.
Yeah.
So I tried to look up the actual date. I got a Daily Oklahoman article today, and we're not going to rehash this whole episode, but it just said a state medical examiner says he was unable to determine what caused the death of a Moore woman who police say was beaten with a baseball bat during a domestic dispute. I think just that paragraph alone, I might enter some evidence. I have a clue what might have caused that death.
Right.
So,
Wow.
I don't know. Also, the next sentence was the woman's husband, Mason Porterfield, 47, has been charged. And I thought, last Sunday, I turned 54. I haven't done a thing with my life. This guy at 47 is already in the paper.
Unbelievable.
It's humbling.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. So let's take, what do we
Yeah.
decide? Jackson with an X? Let's take Jackson with an X to our classroom that day. You were on another part of the building, but my teacher rolled in
Yeah.
the holy grail of class. Like if they're hungover or they just don't want to have a lesson plan that day, in comes the cart.
Yep.
And so it's a strapped on tube television.
Yeah.
With a VCR the size of a baby coffin underneath it.
Yep.
And it rolls in. So we're going to watch the shuttle. And we watched that dude blow up in front of us. And I don't know how to tell my boy, the Gen Z dude, but I saw it.
Yep.
I think did you see it?
Oh, yeah. Mrs. Ricketts' class.
All God's children saw it, dude. I don't
Yeah.
know what to tell him. But first of all, I don't know a Gen X dude that makes up like traumatic events because we had them in spades. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't need that. We didn't want any more drama.
I think my favorite memory of watching it happen was there was this loud upper Midwest, like Rust Belt woman in the crowd. I guess she was near the microphone. All I remember is her saying, "Oh, I don't think it's supposed to do that." It's like, no, Margaret, I don't believe it's supposed to do that at all.
It's supposed to happen. I rewatched that.
Yeah.
You know, and just kind of thinking about that, and, you know, stirring up some trauma from that. But I rewatched it here just recently and looking at this, and there was just, I remember that, you know, there was such hype because of Krista McAuliffe.
Right.
You know, she was the school teacher. And so
that's why we were watching it. You're exactly right. That's a great point.
Yeah.
If it had been the launch before that, I don't think we'd be watching it.
No, because they're all the ones that didn't get picked to go. And so, right? So they, you know, there was the first school teacher in space, and it was a big deal. It was this whole, you know, you can accomplish your dreams and you can do anything kind of mentality, you know? And this was kind of a celebration of that. And
yeah, that's exactly right. I remember that.
Yeah, this whole like space is going to be this amazing frontier of things, and we're going to go, and it's for everyone, and it's kind of like that. So there was an excitement behind it that I don't know how you could replicate today, because we have so much so fast that nothing impresses us really anymore. Nothing is, you know, everything's, oh yeah, so what, you know. But that was a big deal. And so
yeah, you're exactly right. You can't revisit a day like that, because I was trying to explain to someone a few months ago that, you know, like we don't remember Beatlemania, but I certainly remember being in elementary school and the world just going nuts over Michael Jackson and the Thriller album.
Yes.
I don't think that can happen now because of Instagram, and you know, you could see what your favorite musician's having for breakfast that day. And back then, it was all just, you got to know whatever their handlers want you to know.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, we watched this deal partly out of, I think I'll give the teachers the benefit of the doubt of saying, hey, there's something to be learned here and experienced. This is a historical thing. I get that. And there's some of them that, hey, I don't have to teach today, whatever. But I remember watching that, and everybody's kind of tuned into it. Like you said, I brought the whole thing in from the media center, and
Right.
we watched that, and then when just a little over a minute after it started, it was like, oh, what? Everybody, there was this moment of like, what is that? What happened there? When nobody really kind of knew what it was, and even the people on the broadcast as they're watching, they don't say anything for like 15 or 20 seconds. It's just dead air, and we know dead air is not a good thing,
Right.
So
you don't want to be the jackass
because they don't know what's going on.
You don't want to be the jackass to like lose your mind about one of the fuel tanks or something doing what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like, so everybody's, I'm sure, in the control booth, they were like, wait, what are we looking at?
Yeah, and so then you hear them, they're like talking to the mission control people. You hear them, they go to and then they're quiet. And then all of a sudden it's just like, it gets real quick.
Yeah.
And so, it was just like, what did we just see?
There was still a race going on back then. Kids now that they see Elon's rocket ships and what's Bezos? Blue something.
Yeah, blue sky or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So they see this and it's just like the old 1960s, who has the bigger yacht in the yacht races. Like now it's just in the skies.
Here in Phoenix, we see SpaceX launches from California a couple times a month. We see them. So it's not a big deal.
Right.
You don't even pull your car over and look at it anymore. It's just like, oh yeah, rocket going to space,
Right. Yeah, it was truly a big deal there because we were still in a space race with presumably the Soviets. We didn't know how close they were to falling, but back then every launch was a big deal. And it literally for one of the first times you can't, I don't think we had satellite imagery to beam the moon landing everywhere. I think that happened at night anyway, didn't it?
Yeah. Did it?
According to.
Yeah.
I know that it did on Mad Men.
Yeah.
It was at night.
Right.
So I'm willing to trust that.
But I think that when that happened, we were still like, everybody, like I kind of talked about it. We were all expectant of this is going to be something cool, blah, blah, blah. We're sending this, shuttle in space with these people in it. They're opening up this whole new frontier. Now we see a rocket go into space and it's just like, hey, is this going to make my cell phone service better? I mean, that's like what we don't even think about it, as far as how impressive it really is.
Yeah, I hope this lowers the lag time on Netflix.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, am I going to get better reception now? What's the deal? So,
boy, that's just a generation and a half later. Like, that's nuts.
I know, but I can't imagine that guy having the wherewithal to say that didn't happen. You didn't see that.
Yeah, I know.
Whatever. But anyway, that's ignorance.
Whatever.
Here's the deal: is like, so this event happens, and then it's just over. It happens, and we're in this room, all these middle school kids. Yeah, like you said, 8th grade. Yeah. We're all sitting around like, that blew up. Those people are dead. And then it was like, okay, well, get out your textbooks. We're gonna, there was nothing that happened. There was no discussion. There was no.
Yeah, Mr. Stoll. Yeah, Mr. Stoll had another half a class where he had all Space Shuttle stuff planned. And now it's, I guess somebody has to go to the board to play Hangman because we got 30 minutes to kill.
Yeah, it was just like, but nobody talked about it. And now they would shut school down for 2 or 3 days and bring in PTSD counselors and all the things, which, is okay. And
they would have kids making memes about it from their phones while they're watching it. And
yes,
it would just be so different. But, things moved slower then.
Yeah.
But I remember the build up to that.
It was huge.
I mean, they were on the news every night. They showed them walking out, like waving, walking out to the thing. And we left school that morning. Those of us that didn't get cursed at by a local weatherman, thinking, we're going to watch that today. The school teachers up there, they made a huge deal about it.
Yeah.
You're right. A lot of bitter science teachers showed it anyway because
Yeah.
they wanted to go.
But yeah,
Grumbling.
but that was, I think that's the thing that gets lost on it, is that was just this, it was this incredible event that the entire nation was looking forward to. And, what we've gone, there'd been other shuttle missions before that, but this was kind of the first time
Yeah.
a regular person was going.
I remember watching, I get ready for the show today. I watched a few news reports about it, and it showed a teacher, I think from Oregon, who was one of the finalists to go. And he was telling his class, like, I was supposed to be on this and I didn't get to go. And they showed him, they had the cameras there when the launch happened. And after the explosion, he kind of looked like that side-eyed monkey meme. Like, oh, yeah. Okay, I'll stay here with the Bunsen burners.
Yep,
I'm
right.
fine. So we handled it different then. I say that kids now would have sent out memes and it would have been, it wouldn't have been as big a deal. But, within a week, we were making jokes about it in school.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing, though, to see, like, I did the big faux pas in this deal as we were prepping for this. I was like, let me ask Chat GPT what was the impact of this afterwards. And what it wrote was comical, because it's looking at this from this lens of today and imposing it 40 years ago. And I'm like, none of this stuff happened. All the stuff that they said happened,
What did they say?
Teachers immediately shifted to crisis support. What? No, there was no crisis support. Some classrooms stopped lessons altogether that day to talk, pray, or comfort students. Bull.
No, that's
bull.
Your chat's misremembering
Exactly.
this.
I'm like, it wasn't that way in Oklahoma. Many educators later described feeling unprepared to help children process what they had just seen.
Yeah, I buy that.
That's 100% right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember Mr. Stoll. I think I remember him over at his desk combing out that glorious afro and telling us to get, we got a pop quiz coming. Like, I honestly, and I'm not just trying to gild this to Gen X stuff. My next class was Coach DeWiggins' math class.
Oh gosh, yeah. And he probably didn't even say anything about it.
No, I don't think he did.
Yeah.
I think he mentioned, hey, did y'all see that? All right, get your books.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was something like that. And then, the kids talked about it amongst themselves, but, not for long, because in their defense, the boys' basketball coach was soon to beat his wife to death.
Soon to beat his wife to death, which Coach DeWitt later filled in for. So this guy was on the precipice. Right. He was on the precipice.
I love a good, heartwarming, full circle story like that.
Right.
You know what? That's what Jackson. We decided his name was Jackson with an X. Jackson should know that it happened.
It happened real.
And next thing he'll tell us that Hands Across America was just a glitch in the Matrix, which it might have been.
It might. I'm not going to really die on that sword. Yeah.
That's a podcast coming up, dude. That was just that year. Movies released: Top Gun, Alien, Stand By Me, Platoon, Ferris Bueller, Three Amigos.
So great.
Yeah. Oh, Back to School.
So great.
Such a great.
So great.
Albums. I listed albums: Master of Puppets, 5150, New Kids, Top Gun soundtrack, Slippery When Wet.
Oh yeah.
Pretty good year.
BMG sent every one of those to my house.
Columbia House.
Yeah.
Columbia House sent all of those and 86s to Hell with the Devil to the vacant house 2 houses down from mine.
Oh, nice.
With an unattended mailbox.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I had a bunch of those.
Yeah, man. So great.
That's gonna be an episode too.
It was just such a simpler time, and everything was just, there were so many new things and so many innovative things that were going on.
Dude, you said it the last time we were together here. You said you get a few bucks in your pocket, and if you're within a bike ride from a Circle K, you're set for the day.
You're good.
Yeah.
You were good. And so
I would do another day like
I
that.
I think the way that we dealt with that whole deal is just reflective of that. Maybe there was some blissful ignorance and maybe even still some innocence in that time of, it's lost now. We don't have that. And so
no doubt.
I think that there was something to that. And so, yeah, we had a shared experience, but there wasn't a need to circle around and talk about it and hold hands and, all the things and crisis counseling and all. We just dealt with things differently.
I'll tell you something else about the era. The kids generally let the adults be the adults.
100%.
And we didn't have to do the thinking. I remember watching Reagan that night, and I'll have most of his comments at the end of this episode, and I'll link to his Oval Office message on the page. You can watch it on I'll link it to my YouTube page. But I remember watching that and thinking, yeah, all right. I think Peggy Noonan wrote the speech. But I remember going back the next day and we were talking about, how they touched the face of God. It was a great speech. I remember the same class, Mr. Stoll's class. And then the kid in front of me, I can't remember his name, started talking about the Ultimate Sin, the new Ozzy album that he got that night. And so then we started talking about something else. And it was over.
Yeah,
it was done.
Yeah.
Dutch Reagan told us that, it happened. Mom and Dad, Dad pulled down the Daily Oklahoman long enough to say, I'll be. Then kept reading.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think, and I think a lot of people today would say we brushed it under the rug or whatever it was. I don't think that was it. It wasn't ignored. Does that make sense? We didn't ignore it.
Yeah.
It wasn't that we were afraid to talk about it. What did we say? What did we do? We didn't know. I mean, we didn't know.
Yeah. It kind of goes back to, we were just allowed to be kids then.
Yeah.
And bad crap happened when after college and you get mortgages, I think, and I'm kind of know what that is.
Yeah.
Not really. I don't care. I'm going to go jump my bike off my roof now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can't imagine that's a worse way to be than now.
Yeah. So, I've heard people say that, you repressed all those things and you probably have PTSD from that stuff. And I don't think I do.
No, I got PTSD from getting picked in last on anything that required speed and agility. And not being able to jump my bike as far. And when Travis and I would go to the go-kart tracks, inevitably we got the slowest go-kart. It took us a year to figure out the physics behind that. I swear to you, we were in line one time and Travis said, "Oh, look at that. I'm going to get that go-kart." It was like a little red with this little 4th grade girl was just zooming by on. And he got on it and says, what is going on? It's like those old Model Ts at Six Flags. We put 2 and 2 together later in our mid-20s.
Yeah. Hey.
So there's some of that going on, man. And I am grateful that I got to grow up where I did and frankly when I did.
Yeah. I'm so thankful for that. I think that there's just, the roots are deep, man. I think a lot of kids today are growing up with shallow roots. And we got to be kids. We got to experience things with a safety net in a lot of ways. But we got freedom as we earned it. And we didn't have to worry about a lot of stuff that kids today worry about. And I think we got deeper roots because of it. And that was the cool thing.
Yeah. The older I get, the more grateful I am that I got to grow up in more among, I count you among them, just a bunch of good dudes. And live, like I said, turned 54 and I'm still talking to you. And
Yeah.
I talk to a lot of buddies that we went to school with and kids I played Little League football with.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
All right. Any parting words for Jackson?
It happened, bro. It happened. I don't know what to tell you except maybe read a book. I don't.
Maybe read an old Encyclopedia Britannica, the smart ass with the mullet that used to sell them.
Yeah. Read something else. What a tragic event, though. I hope that we weren't making light of this deal. It was a tragic thing, but it was just
it clearly was.
It was just handled.
Yeah,
in such
and
time.
Reagan's going to mention the on the way out. He's going to mention the crew that we lost, and to his credit and to America's credit, he said to stop the space program now, all these lives would be in vain.
Yeah.
And so onward, man. Let's go.
Didn't that guy always say the right thing at the right time?
Man,
Dude.
he seemed to. Look, it's pretty clear where my politics lie, and I know the guy now is in the same party, but he ain't that.
It's not the same.
Mm-mm.
No.
It is not.
It's
No, I miss that part of that genteel but stern. I was in a movie with Doris Day. What have you ever done?
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
he gets it.
Yeah.
Chad, as always, man, I appreciate your time here.
Dude, so good, man. Love what you're doing.
Yeah.
So fun.
Oh, I appreciate it. Your insight's always valuable. I've got one coming up in the spring that I'm going to needly about being on, and I've got one coming up with I think an old teammate of yours, Chadwick. Thanks, bud.
All right, man. Thanks. Appreciate it, bro.
All right, easy to see why this guy is a favorite guest host. That was fun. To hear Reagan's full comments from the Oval Office the night of the disaster, hit the link where you're listening to this podcast. Did you play ball with Jason Dean?
Yeah.
Jason's coming on. We're going to talk about a subject that you and I kind of hit on today, but we're going to expand on that. That should be a fun one. I'm looking forward to that.
Good. That's awesome.
I'll tell him you said howdy, even though I have no recorded evidence that you did.
Come on. Tell him.
No, people are sick of you bossing them around.